I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. We continue in reading the Gospels. Christ was in primarily in his Galilean ministry. Did a lot of healing, a lot of miracles, preaching all throughout the land of Galilee, and people from all regions had come to hear him and to be healed. Then there came another feast. I believe it was the Feast of Tabernacles, which would be about 6 months after that first Passover. And he returns to Jerusalem for the feast, and while he is there, he heals a man on the Sabbath. And the Jews are all in an uproar over it, and so he testifies of his own authority and power as the Son of God. And that's where we left it. We're going to pick this up now in Matthew, because the next few videos are all going to be in just one gospel. But we're going to read the same stories, just one gospel at a time. In this video, we have a Joseph Smith translation. Now, what the Joseph Smith translation is, this is a translation or correction done by Joseph Smith to restore those passages that have been lost or corrupted over the years. So in Matthew, we turn to chapter 12, and we are going to read verses 1 through 9. At that time, Jesus went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were an hungered, and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon a Sabbath day. But he said unto them, Have ye not read what David did when he was an hungered, and they that were with him? How he entered into the house of God, and did eat the shewbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him, but only for the priests. Or have ye not read in the law how that on the Sabbath days the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath, and are blameless? But I say unto you that in this place is one greater than the temple. But if ye had known what this meaneth, I will have mercy, and not sacrifice, ye would not have condemned the guiltless. For the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath day. And when he was departed thence, he went into their synagogue. It's a little odd, quite honestly, but of course, according to the Pharisees, you weren't supposed to be picking food. You can't pick an apple off a tree, you can't harvest anything on the Sabbath. It's a violation of the Sabbath, no working on the Sabbath. And Christ is pointing out, look, there are times when it is fine to do these things. You're getting too caught up in the details. You're getting too caught up in the strictness of the law. David, he ate the shewbread that was supposed to be for the priests because he was hungry. His men were starving. They needed some food. And even the priests, they work on the Sabbath. So you're being too strict here. And then he once again declares himself as the Son of Man, as the Son of God. He says, I am here, and while I'm here, they can't profane the Sabbath when they are with me, because I am Lord of the Sabbath. If I tell them to do something, it is God saying it, and if God tells you to do something, it is not. There's no sin in it. You can't profane the Sabbath when you are doing what God has allowed you to do. That's really what he's saying. It's very interesting, a little odd, but let us look at the Joseph Smith translation. In verse 2, we change it, so when the Pharisees saw it, and we change it to when the Pharisees saw them. Verse 4, change which to that, so neither for them which were with him, that were with him. In verse 5, where it says, the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless, we have this addition, the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath, and ye say they are blameless. So he's pointing out that they themselves have acknowledged certain exceptions to their strict reading of the rules. Verse 8, we just take out the day, so Lord even of the Sabbath instead of Sabbath day. And then in verse 9, we pluralize synagogue. So it becomes, he used to talk in their synagogues. Very simple, minor grammatical updates, although I do like that he is directly pointing out that they themselves acknowledge that there are times where you can work on the Sabbath and not be guilty. But we leave that here, and we pick this up. We're going to read the same thing again, but next time in Luke. So I will see you there.